What up? What up? How's everyone doing out there? Welcome back to From the Block 213, and we appreciate you still being down and listening to us, still staying tuned. And with that being said, let's get to it, man. Let's get to this episode real quick. And on this one, we're gonna talk about one of our rivals of my neighborhood. We're gonna talk about 18 Colombia Little Cycles. Um, Even though it's more towards McArthur Park, but it's still one of our main rivals. And Beverly Boulevard separates our neighborhood. My neighborhood stretches out from the. We have two sides basically. The 101 freeway separates both of the sides. On the other side, we're close to Echo Park, and on this side, we're a little more close to McArthur Park. But even though it's still the same thing, it's not that far away. It's only a few blocks down. So, with that being said, we're gonna talk about 18th Street Columbia Little Cycles and the reason why. I want to give you guys a little bit more of an inside look on how business was being run here before back in the days. My neighborhood, 18th Street, Columbia Little Cycles, MS, um, Easy Riders, and I think two other neighborhoods around this area by McCartan Park were involved in the extortion business in their neighborhoods, meaning anybody that was doing illegal activity in their neighborhood was being extorted, was being taxed for protection money, for the right to operate in that neighborhood, for the right to sell in those blocks. They were being taxed. The blocks were being rented. People were making money, and people weren't tripping, because there was money to be made all around. So in my neighborhood, I'm gonna give you a ball figure real quick, a ballpark figure. I don't know how much. I can't remember exactly how much, but we were making like about 25 thousand a week. Don't quote me on that. Shit could be more. It could be less. I don't know. It's fucking many years ago. I don't remember, but I could just imagine the guys from 18th Street, Columbus Little Cycles, how much money, more money they were making. We have a big neighborhood as well. Um, just like they have a big territory, but they have more tacateros out there selling. They have more people out there in their neighborhood that were doing illegal activities and they were being taxed. I remember driving around. Well, I just entered the neighborhood right now. As you can see, this is 18th Street, Columbus Little Cycles. I was just on Beverly and Union. Beverly is a main street that separates my neighborhood and 18th Street. And right now, I'm just driving through their neighborhood real quick. Back in the days, these little blocks right here were full of tacateros. Everybody was up and down these blocks selling crack, coke, heroin, whatever it was. You would drive through here. You would look for. They were easy to spot. You would look for them. They were always standing around, dressed all black. Giving you little signs, little hand signs. Hey, I got weed. I got coke. I got crack. Whatever it was, and you would spot them right away, man. Back in the days, in the '90s, this little neighborhood here, right here, was it had more than just 18th Street. I remember it had MLK. MLK was a Italian crew, became a gang. DIA was another Italian crew that became a gang, and they were sharing these neighborhoods, these interblocks right here with Rocco Street, 18th Street, DIA, MLK. They were all intermixed together. DIA is a old Italian crew that's not really around anymore. Became a gang, just like MLK, old Italian crew that's not around. They came and they left. You'll see here and there once in a while they'll tag here and there, but they didn't really keep up like the original gangs do. So yeah, man. Belmont ain't that far up the street on the left hand side. Rockwell Street ain't that far. It's on the left hand side too, right here if you turn left. A couple of blocks. This block and the other block on the left hand side separates 18th Street and Rockwell Street, you could say. But for the most part, this right here on the right hand side would be 18th Street, And if you make a right and then make a left, you go a little more further down. You're still 18th Street territory. But as you go further down, it starts becoming other neighborhoods territory. CAR and a bunch of other little hoods, you know. Well, back in the days, all this right here was full of dealers, was full of illegal activity. There's vendors out here now, not like there was before. There was vendors before, but before there were other type of vendors as well, you know, as you would say. Um, you will come over here, open drug market, and look for your fix, you know, look for your drug, whatever you prefer. I remember one time we came over here before we started gang banging in the 90s, like 90. I was like, I don't know, 13, 14. We came over here looking for some weed, bought a little nickel from some guys, some paisas, and they were selling to you in foil paper, a bunch of stems and seeds, you know. You were lucky enough to get a little fucking nug. That's the way it was before, man. You know, and yeah, this is 18th Street, Colombia, Little Cycles. If you go down straight, you're running to McArthur Park. On the left hand side, if you just go down a few more blocks, it's still 18th Street. But we're gonna turn right here real quick. Back then, we used to drive through here, and you will see tacateros standing, walking around, selling them fake IDs, you know, fake passports, all that micas, whatever you could think of. It was out here. They were selling it. They were trying to make money off of it. And 18th Street had their neighborhood unlocked. They were collecting, they were taxing. And if you want to know more about that, you could if some of you guys have seen that show Gangland, it will give you a little bit more detail about what was going on in this area. They're talking about 18th Street, Colombia Cycles, but if you really pay attention, they're also really telling you about the business that was going on out here in them times. Um, Neighborhoods were taxing, and the neighborhoods were being taxed as well. So, you know. But yeah, man, but back in the days when we were active, this was a little area. We used to drive around looking for our enemies, looking for them, trying to, you know, earn our stripes, trying to put in work. And if you go down further down straight, a few blocks down, you run into Rockwell Street. But for the most part, this is 18th Street, Columbia Little Cycles, and not that far from my neighborhood too, right over Beverly Boulevard is our neighborhood, man. So when we were active, young in our teens, we will come up, drive up here real quick in the middle of the night. Because back then, gang banging for us was at nighttime. Punching in at 8 o'clock, you know, 7, 8 o'clock, and then punching out like at 3 or 4 in the morning. So we would be driving around, you know, doing our collections, and at the same time multitasking, writing on the walls, and trying to look for our enemies, trying to earn our stripes. Because we were young, 17, 16, 18, 19. We were all young, teens, trying to put in work, trying to, you know, do something, I guess you could say, even though we were doing all the wrong things, but that was the life that we were trying to live, you know. I remember a few times we came through these blocks and we ran into a couple of guys from 18 and we got into a little shootout, you know, got into a little something because that's what we were doing back then, you know, and it was fun, I guess, at that time, at the moment, but when you look back, you realize you're lucky to be alive, man. We're lucky we made it out. We're lucky we walked away. I only lost one friend, um, and he didn't get to see his kids grow up. Unfortunately, you know, we chose the wrong path, and I guess that's the consequences of that. But for the most part, most of us made it out and just living life now, you know. The area is changing compared to what it was before. Gentrification is kicking in over here. A bunch of new buildings on the right hand side is a brand new building. You know, so the area is changing, man, for the better, I guess. This is Beverly, and I'm heading over to my side of the neighborhood now. This is my side of the neighborhood, and if you go further up, you'll run into Temple. You cross Temple, and you'll go to the other side of my neighborhood. And yeah, just a little quick rundown.